Good afternoon. Been a while since I've generated a video. I wanted to generate a video over shear wave inspection, or at least calibration of shear wave inspection, using currently the mini angle beam block, and I have connected a 70-degree transducer. Get that maybe in focus so you can see it a little bit better. That's 2 megahertz 70-degree transducer there. So all we're looking to do to start with is just, as we have before, match the probe to, or I should say transducer, to the scope. So using a USM 35 scope here, I'm going to take this thing, and right now 10 inches screen range is totally fine. All I did was turn this thing on. Material velocity 0.128, that should get us a good starting point. For kicks and grins, we're going to roll this delay back down to 0. I always like to start at 0. That's probably the best place to go with it. We want to go to our pulsar menu. We got high damping, that's fine. We just want to look at what's going to give us the best screen here. Looks like high damping is going to give us the best screen. Let's go power. Let's turn the power down a little bit. Dual mode on. That would mean we're going to do either a pitch catch or something like that, but we don't want to do that right now. Go to receiver. Okay? So we hit reject. We got rejected 0. That's good. Frequency 2 to 20, 0.5 to 4. We'll see what gives us the best screen resolution here. We just want to find something. There we go. And this is what I'm looking at. I just have my transducer on the block. I know that doesn't do anything for me yet. I'm just looking for signal clarity is all. Looks like 0.5 to 4 actually gives me just a little bit better signal. Full wave rectify, all these don't make any difference. I like full wave rectify. That's my personal favorite. This guy down here says rectify block by range. All that's telling me is it doesn't want me to do that because I've got some gates and other things on. But no big deal. I like full wave anyway, so that's not going to hurt my feelings. Looking across the top here, 57 dB, and then this has a depth and amplitude in gate, or sorry, depth in gate A of about 0.346 inches. Not making us any difference right now because we really don't need that yet. We'll come back to that in a little bit. So anyway, first things first. Looking at the mini angle beam block, we have a 3-inch radius here and a 1-inch radius here. So, depending on which direction you'd rather look at this, you can see here we actually have the 45, 60, and 70, and then this is our 0 mark, and here is a just location hole for now. So, I'm going to start like this, placing my block hopefully over the 0. Get my cables out of the way so I don't cause any grief. All I'm doing is, right now, just trying to find a good signal. Get a little bit more couplet. Okay? So I'm just rubbing my transducer back and forth. That signal right there has generated these signals right here. So, first thing I need to do is I need to get that to 3 and 7. I'm going to do that by moving my probe delay. So first signal I'm going to set at 3 inches just by moving my probe delay. Okay? So I've increased my probe delay. I'm at 3 inches, and just out of pretty good luck, it looks like I'm right at about 7 inches, but for fun, I'm going to squeeze that in just a little bit more. Yeah, and then I'm going to back this up just a little bit. Okay, so now we're at 3 and 7. 0.127 on my velocity. 0.130 is technically what it's supposed to be, so I would call that good. My delay is fine. I have no problem there. Gain is good. Still showing a depth of 0.179. What that's telling me is if I come back down here, my depth where I'm actually hitting this is somewhere right in there, about 0.179 inches, somewhere around 200 thousandths. But that setup doesn't make me any difference right now. All I care about is making sure that my 70-degree angle is where it should be. So anyway, coming back and looking at this block, I have a 70-degree transducer, but it's not going to make me any difference if I use a 45 or a 60 because I'm still calibrating for a distance. The angle doesn't make me any difference. So, since I have a 3 and a 7-inch distance, if I stretch this range out, there should be another signal popping up there. That'd be 3, 7, 11, and so on. But 10 inches is all I need for now. So there I am, 3 and 7. I want to ensure that I see my notch, looking at the end of that, see my notch on the end of that block, which that would be that first signal right here. Okay, so I have sensitivity, or I should say I have clarity between the notch and the back side of that block, which is a good thing. And I can see that again over here, so that's a good thing. That means my transducer is functioning properly. Now let's make sure that I have my 70-degree calibration correct. So just put it over the top of the 70-degree here, and I'm looking to peak up the signal from that hole, which is appearing to be somewhat difficult holding the camera, so I'm going to set it down just for a quick second. Roll this thing up here so we can see it, hopefully. Move this forward. Just a little bit more couplet. Much better. Looking right about 2 inches, just barely past it. Signal isn't that clean, but it is there. Just barely right there. He's not that pretty, but he is just right there. So I'm going to call that my signal. On the sensitivity thing, if I were doing any type of inspection, I'd be needing to see that in some decibel format. So I would consider that to be, there we are. Well, that's way better. A little more coupling helps a lot. So now I can roll that back down a little bit. Just lower my gain is all. I would say 82 dB is where I'd want to start. Now, that's technically not a very good gain to start with, but it is a usable one. So I could use that if I wanted to. I could go back and recalibrate this thing with a different degree transducer and get somewhat the same result. But just so you can see what I'm looking at here, that's the setup I have. So anyway, any questions you have, feel free to email me or get back with me on YouTube, and that would be perfect.